The Galactic Institute of Advanced Sciences stood as a monument to interstellar cooperation, its crystalline spires reaching toward the violet sky of Academy Prime. Within its halls, the brightest minds from 100 worlds gathered to learn, to innovate, to shape the future of the galaxy. Professor Vexel, a distinguished Crethi scholar with scales that shimmered like polished copper, prided himself on recognizing exceptional talent. In his 30 cycles of teaching quantum mechanics, he had mentored future ambassadors, fleet commanders, and corporate magnates, yet the human girl in the back row had somehow escaped his notice entirely. Nia sat quietly during lectures, her dark hair falling across her face as she scribbled notes on an old-fashioned paper tablet. She never raised her hand, never challenged his equations, never participated in the heated debates that erupted between the Zephron prodigies and the calculating Makari students. She was, by all appearances, perfectly ordinary, perhaps even struggling. Given how she avoided attention, Professor Vexel had almost forgotten her name until that fateful morning. "Attendance protocol," he announced, activating the holographic roster. The system was new, implemented by the Institute's security division after last semester's incident with the Rixian spy. It didn't just mark presence, it cross-referenced every student's biometric signature with the galactic database, displaying their official registration details. The names flickered past in glowing text. Zixthor of Clan Midnight, present. Leonardo Chen, Earth Colony 7, present. Thessa Moon Whisper, Lunar Academy graduate, present. Then the display froze. Red warning symbols erupted across the hologram. A harsh alarm blared twice before being automatically suppressed. Every student in the amphitheater turned to stare as the system displayed a name that made Professor Vexel's secondary hearts skip a beat. Classified identity detected. Codename Phoenix 7 clearance level. Obsidian Black affiliation. Terra Defense Intelligence the Hour. Human girl in the back row slowly looked up from her notes. "Well," Nia said quietly, setting down her stylus. "That's unfortunate." The classroom exploded into chaos. Students jumped from their seats. Leonardo, the other human student who had become something of a campus celebrity for his athletic achievements, stared at Nia with his mouth open. The Zephron twins began chattering in their high-pitched language. While the Makari representative immediately started recording everything, Professor Vexel raised his manipulator appendages for silence, his mind racing. Phoenix 7. He had heard that codename whispered in intelligence circles, always with a mixture of respect and fear. Phoenix 7 was the operative who had prevented the Confluence War. Phoenix 7 had extracted the Malin royal family from behind enemy lines. Phoenix 7 had supposedly died in the Void Nebula incident 3 years ago. "Miss Nia," he said carefully, using the mundane name from his physical roster. "Perhaps you would care to explain." She stood, and suddenly everything about her seemed different. The slouch was gone, replaced by the posture of a trained warrior. Her eyes, which he had always dismissed as dull brown, now gleamed with sharp intelligence. She moved with fluid grace as she walked down the amphitheater steps, each movement economical and purposeful. "My apologies, Professor," Nia said, her voice carrying clearly despite its softness. "I was on sabbatical. The director felt I needed perspective, time to remember what we're fighting for." She glanced around at the staring students. "I requested a normal educational experience. Clearly that's no longer possible." "You're a spy," hissed Cyrax, a Crethi student from the security track. "A human spy infiltrating our institution." "I'm a student," Nia corrected. "And a fairly mediocre one, according to my last exam results." A slight smile touched her lips. "Turns out quantum mechanics is harder than quantum encryption protocols." Leonardo finally found his voice. "You've been sitting next to me for 6 months. We studied together. You helped me with my astrophysics homework. And you helped me understand Crethi literature," Nia replied. "I wasn't lying about struggling with Professor Thessix's poetry requirements." Professor Vexel's analytical mind worked through the implications. "Phoenix 7 is considered one of the most dangerous operatives in known space. The Rixian Empire has a bounty of 10 million credits for information leading to your capture. The Combine still blames you for the collapse of their mining consortium. And you've been attending my lectures on quantum entanglement?" "I needed the credits for graduation," Nia said simply. "And your lectures are actually quite good, Professor. Though I believe your equation on slide 47 from last week had a minor error in the third quantum state coefficient. Despite himself, Vexel felt a flutter of academic pride. She had been paying attention. The door to the amphitheater slid open with a pneumatic hiss. A figure in the gray uniform of Institute security entered, flanked by armed guards. Behind them walked a tall human woman with silver hair and the bearing of someone accustomed to command. "Director Chen," Professor Vexel said, recognizing the head of Terra Defense Intelligence. "Professor." Director Chen nodded respectfully before turning to Nia. "Your sabbatical is over. Agent, we have a situation." Nia's expression didn't change, but something flickered in her eyes, resignation perhaps, or duty. "The Krell sector?" "Worse. The architects have returned." A collective gasp rippled through the classroom. The architects, the ancient enemy that had nearly destroyed galactic civilization a millennium ago. They were supposed to be extinct, sealed away in the quantum dead zones. Leonardo stood up suddenly. "I'm coming with you." Everyone turned to stare at him. The athletic human student who entertained crowds with his zero-G basketball skills looked determined, almost desperate. "Leonardo, you can't," Nia began. "You spent 6 months helping me study," Leonardo interrupted. "You never made me feel stupid for not understanding thermodynamics. You listened when I talked about my family back on the colony." He stepped forward. "You showed me what it means to be human, to care about others even when you're carrying the weight of the galaxy. If you're going to face the architects, you're not doing it alone." Nia studied him for a long moment. Then incredibly she smiled, a real smile this time, warm and genuine. "You'd need training. Months of it. Possibly years. Then we'd better start now." Director Chen's expression softened slightly. "We could use more like him. Like both of you." She looked around the amphitheater at the assembled students from a dozen worlds. "The architects don't care about species or borders. They're a threat to all life. We'll need the best minds, the bravest hearts." Professor Vexel found himself speaking before he realized it. "Then you'll need teachers too. Someone has to ensure the next generation understands the science behind whatever weapons we'll need." Nia turned to him, surprise evident on her face. Then she nodded, respect shining in her eyes. "Thank you, Professor." As she walked toward the exit, Leonardo falling into step beside her, the other students began to stand. First the Zephron twins, then the Makari, then even prideful Cyrax. One by one they moved forward, not all of them, but enough. Enough to matter. Professor Vexel watched them go, this unlikely coalition forming around a human girl who had pretended to be ordinary. Perhaps that was humanity's greatest weapon, he reflected. Not their technology or their tactics, but their ability to inspire others to be extraordinary. The ordinary student had become a legend again. But she hadn't done it alone. She had shown them all what it meant to be Phoenix.